Curtis Granderson in there, and Zach's first pitch is at the knees over the outside edge. Granderson on base 4 times yesterday, 3 hits, a walk. He scored twice. And it's 0-2. So how about that start to the game?
That's a great start. And he was able to get his fastball over and come back with his curveball. Is outstanding.
Still 0-2 on Curtis Granderson, who added 10 points to his batting average yesterday, and he has good numbers in the power departments, but the average was down to 240 going into yesterday afternoon. Olivo hangs on, and Zach opens the game with a strikeout, his 74th of the year.
One of the things that makes Zach so tough is that 2-strike breaking ball for a strikeout. Now, his curveball is that hard when he throws, and it just goes straight down, and Granderson swung right over the top.
And 0-1 to Placido Polanco. Zach beat the Tigers on April the 24th, 9 innings. He allowed an unearned run, struck out 10. 0-2 to Polanco. The unearned run snapped his streak of 38 consecutive innings without allowing a run, going back to last year. And Zach finished the game by retiring the last 15 and 23 of the last 24. So he really got into the zone. We've been seeing a lot of those this year. Now they're not just hanging from the facing of the upper deck. Now people have gone to the Z t-shirts.
It's really nice to see the fans get behind Zach, and it just only adds a lot more excitement to coming to the ballpark.
That is just past Tien and down into the corner. So Zach had Polanco reaching, but just left the pitch up. And a runner at second with 1 out.
That's exactly what he did. He left the breaking ball up just a little bit, and it was in the center of the plate. And Polanco did a great job just staying on it. And like you say, he's really a tough guy to strike out with 2 strikes.
He is the 3rd toughest right now in the American League to strike out, right behind Alberto Callaspo. And now Ordonez, who has an 11-game hitting streak. Broken bat, and the Tigers are going to score in the first inning. Maglio Ordonez will take that no matter what. But especially against Greinke. He was hitting 129 against Greinke going into that at bat. Tiger lineup: Granderson, Polanco, and Ordonez, with Cabrera, Larish, and Inge in the middle. Thomas, Laird, and Adam Everett will be at shortstop tonight. Ramon Santiago was there last night. Brought to you by M&I Bank. So Ordonez has hit in 12 straight games, and the Tigers with the lead.
I think if you ask Zach again about that pitch, anytime you can break a guy's bat, you always want to break his bat and take your chances. I mean, you made the good pitch, and you just lucky enough to get it over the infield.
2-0 on Miguel Cabrera. 4 hits, including a couple of doubles, and 3 driven in, getting his average up to 378, which now leads the league. A couple of series ago, the Royals faced the Cleveland Indians, and Victor Martinez was leading the American League. He was hitting at 400, but Martinez in the game yesterday snapped an 0 for 18, so his average has dropped over 20 points since he faced the Royals. So now Cabrera, who's also from Venezuela like Martinez, leading the American League. Chance for two. Out at second. Double play. The Tigers get one in the first. Lately, we had some rain this morning. 70 degrees. We started at 7:11. Official time and temp presented by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. Now Trey Hillman's lineup brought to you by M&I Bank. And the only change from the game yesterday is the last two positions, with Miguel Olivo behind the plate and Luis Hernandez getting a start at shortstop. So Coco Crisp, who was 9 out of 20 in his career against Edwin Jackson. Coco 1 for 3 yesterday, but over a longer stretch is just 4 for his last 22. So the batting average is down to 234. One ball, one strike. Royals come in tonight having scored just 4 runs in their last 42 innings. Two and one. Facing Edwin Jackson, and the Royals have plenty of experience, at least recent experience, against him. Faced him twice last year, and Jackson won both games with an ERA right around 2. Here's the Kia scouting report.
Well, you said it, Ryan. He's pretty stingy with runs, but he's fastball 93 to 97, and he's got a 1.33 ERA on the road. So Royals going to have to really put it together tonight to score some runs.
That's another out in the air from Coco Crisp. So Jackson gets Coco, and now David DeJesus.
You know, the one thing you don't want to do here, when you don't have a lot of power, is you don't hit a lot of fly balls in this ballpark, because they get swallowed up by outfielders with good range. And Coco, to be real valuable to the ball club, he's got to get back to hitting line drives and hard ground balls and try to use his speed.
And with that wind blowing out of the north, and now it's picked up a little bit, that's going to create quite a crosswind, not to mention bringing some cold air. So you figure the ball's not going to be carrying tonight. Ball one on David DeJesus. There are the flags on top of the Royals Hall of Fame. So blowing in from the left field corner towards the right field corner. So you hit one to straightaway right, or maybe into the right field corner, you might get some help, but otherwise into the wind, or at least into a crosswind. David driving in the only run for the Royals yesterday with 2 outs in the 8th inning. A single that scored Mitch Meyer. Down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's a happy Royals fan who brought his radio so he could listen to Denny and Bob and Steve.
I always thought that was real good to do. When I was a kid going to baseball games or watching the bleachers at my high school, I had this AM transistor radio that I used to carry all the time.
Ordonez in right center field takes care of DeJesus, so 2 quick outs for Edwin Jackson. Edwin Jackson, a former draft pick of the Dodgers back in 2001, 6th-round pick, and he was a very good pitcher and outfielder in high school. And when the Dodgers signed him, they wanted him to focus on pitching, but he didn't completely get rid of the bat. And when he was in rookie ball, on days he wasn't pitching, he would DH. And he's going to get 3 straight outs in the air on a night where the ball isn't carrying. 1-0 Tigers. Zach Greinke. Here tonight's league leaders brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And some of Zach Greinke's American League rankings. That is an updated ERA after the run in the first. 4 complete games. So 4 of his 9 he's gone the distance. 2 of which he's pitched a shutout. And second in the league in victories. As he throws a strike to Jeff Larish. Only Roy Halladay of the Toronto Blue Jays has 1 more games. He has 8. And it's 0-2. Larish 1 out of 5 with a run scored, so I'm sure he felt like he was part of that 13-1 win, but he also struck out 4 times.
Manager Jim Leyland gave him a pep talk before the game. Just told him, hey, look, I just want you to stay aggressive, and I want you to hit ahead in the count. I don't want you to always be behind in the count, especially man on base. I just want you to stay aggressive and swing the bat. So he seemed to appreciate that little pep talk and went toward his batting practice.
And then promptly fell behind 0-2 on Greinke. I would think, though, Frank, a guy like Larish in the minor leagues, and in order to make it to the big leagues, you're obviously doing something well in the minor leagues. So they might pitch you carefully in the minors, but when you get to this level and you're batting 5th or 6th, they're going to come right at you.
They'll come right at you. Swing's just a little bit long, and for a guy with a fastball like Zach, that's an advantage. But what Jim Leyland was saying, I don't mind you getting the 2 strikes, but I want you to swing the bat to get the 2 strikes. I don't want you to sit there and just take pitches and just to take pitches, especially with men on base. Yeah, the one thing they want to do here is they want to find out if you can hit the fastball, and they want to find out if you can hit the fastball in, and then they want to work on whether or not you can hit the breaking ball.
Well, that 106 opponent's batting average will go down even lower against Zach when he's ahead in the count. Strikes out his second. So one away. Up comes Brandon Inge, and we welcome in Joel Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, I had a long talk with Brandon Inge today about what you guys were just talking about. I said, what's the difference in Zach this year? And he said his ability to get ahead in the count and throw first pitch strikes. And he said once he gets ahead, he could do whatever he wants. And he really puts Zach in a category along with a couple of other great pitchers, Roy Halladay and Justin Verlander, who you saw yesterday, and saying that those guys, even if you know that a first pitch fastball is coming, it's not coming down the middle. It could be inside, it could be outside, just on the corners. I said, do you put Johan Santana in that mix? And he said, no, I always just sat and waited for a changeup. But with those three pitchers, they could be throwing you anything at any point, guys.
All right, Joel, and he starts Inge off with a big slow curveball, which is something he's been doing. Just when you think Zach has a pattern, he does something to mix it up.
Well, Zach knows who the first ball fastball hitters are, and that pitch is reserved for those guys.
That should stay in play, and Billy Butler with Cayaspo right behind him making the play. 2 up, 2 down in the second inning. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Justin Morneau and the Minnesota Twins take on Evan Longoria and the defending American League champion Rays. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 3 p.m. Central on Fox. So 2 away for Cleat Thomas. Drove in a couple of runs yesterday. Zach said before tonight that he has not been very happy with his last 3 starts. In his last start, which was Thursday against Cleveland, he gave up 2 runs in 6 innings, struck out 8, and most pitchers in the American League would take that line every time, but Zach felt like he got away from his game a bit and was throwing a lot of two-seam fastballs, so going more for the movement than for the velocity. And at some point during the game, Miguel Olivo came out and said, hey, let's get back to the 4-seam fastball.
Well, he's got a great 4-seam fastball that he really can command it on both sides of the plate. Well, the 2-seamer would be coming to play mainly with a man on first, and you're trying to get a double play and create a ground ball, but to use it on a consistent basis for him wouldn't be the pitch for him.
It was a tough 6 innings. He was laboring for about 5 of the 6 innings. Just missed inside. Angel Campos is the home plate umpire tonight.
Yeah, that hard breaking ball stayed up. Zach really wants that ball to go down at the back leg of the left-handed hitter, but that one stayed up and made it easy for the hitter to lay off of.
Olivo wants another slider. And this one's popped up in front of the Tiger dugout. And Tien is there to complete a 1-2-3 top of the second inning. Zach. That leads us to tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. Who is most important to his team? So not the most dominating pitcher, the best pitcher, but of this group, who is most important to his particular team? That's a good way of putting it tonight. Jose Guillen leads off the second inning against Edwin Jackson. So A, Roy Halladay, who leads the league with 8 wins. B, Zach. C, Mark Burley. D, Justin Verlander, who looked great yesterday. Text 432 432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space and your selection. As Guillen drives it into center. Granderson was in a few steps, and that pays off. Guillen lines out, 1 away in the second inning.
I tell you, he hits that ball there. He has no way of thinking that that ball is going to get caught. You know, that's what speed and playing shallow in the outfield does for you.
Granderson will play a shallow center field. When we're in Detroit, it always looks like he's playing shallow because it's a half mile from home plate to the center field wall. So no matter where he plays, he's a long way from the center field wall. But took a base hit away from Jose Guillen with that alignment. Ball 1 on Mike Jacobs. 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts yesterday, and now hitless in 15 at bats against the Tigers this year. Jacobs has a home run in 3 at bats against Edwin Jackson. Cabrera to the bag himself, and Jackson has retired the first 5. So Jackson has had a good year overall, but he's been especially good in his last 3 starts. He's won all 3, going at least 7 innings in each of the 3 starts, including a win on Thursday against Texas when he went 8 innings. And his ERA just 1.6 over that stretch. So you look at the overall numbers coming into tonight, and he's actually better than that. Mark Tia now 1 for his last 22 after going 0 for 2 in yesterday's game. 2-0. Three balls, no strikes. Jackson has only walked 16 in over 61 innings this year. Three and one. Tian also had a tough day in the field, committed an error in the top of the first inning that led to a couple of unearned runs with Gil Mesh on the mound, and that's pounded to deep left. Back goes Thomas. It is off the bottom of the fence. So Tian drives a 2-out double, and the Royals have their first base runner.
Now Mark does a real good job of just staying on that ball that's down in the way. It's amazing that some days you see him take that swing and you think he's got it, then all of a sudden he takes another swing, he doesn't have it. But when the ball is in that area right there, you can see the ball just squared right up on the bat. And for some reason, Ryan, when left-handed hitters really hit the ball travels to left field pretty good.
So an RBI opportunity for Callaspo. We didn't mean to go around. It's 0-1. Alberto 1 out of 2 yesterday. Yeah, it just seems like you brought up a good point. When Tian hits a ball over there, he just takes such a nice, easy swing, effortless. But when he tries to pull the ball, it almost seems like there's 2, 3, 4 times the effort.
Yes, it's almost like he's trying to jerk. You can kind of see his body really try to get the ball over there with a lot more body. But if he can maintain that swing right there, I mean, there's no reason in the world he can't take off offensively and do the things that he want to do. I mean, it's the same swing he had in spring training. It's such a nice swing. But, you know, part of a swing is being able to hold on to it against all different types of pitchers. And every now and then he'll go away from it. And then like tonight, beautiful swing, beautiful results.
And the approach that Kevin Seitzer preached all through spring training, not just with Tien, but everybody on the roster, of using the middle of the field first, staying inside the ball, going to the opposite field. Two and two on Callaspo. Alberto, wasn't that long ago, he was hitting in the 360s and 370s. But his average has really tailed off. He's still hitting over 300, but it's taken quite a dip in the last week to 10 days. Snapped an 0 for 17 in the game yesterday. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he really puts the ball in play a lot, and you know, part of keeping the average up is mixing in a few walks and some sacrifice flies and things like that. But you know, he doesn't strike out very much, but he hits really his first pitch a lot. You know, and I think first ball hitting, it's really one way to get your average down in a hurry.
Polanco throws him out, and the Royals leave Tien at second base. 1-0 Tigers at the end of 2. Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by AT&T, switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. So Zach Greinke, who had gone 19 consecutive innings against the Tigers without allowing an earned run, gives up a 1-out single to Maglio Ordonez in the first that scored Placido Polanco, but then got the Tigers in order in the second. Throws a curveball high to Gerald Laird, who hit the only home run for the Tigers yesterday. And I say only because you see 13 runs, 19 hits, and you figure there'd be several home runs, but just one. Laird hitting his second. That was against Ron Mayhay.
Laird's got a pretty good approach to hitting right now. He really takes the fastballs and try to hit them the other way, and then wait for you to make a mistake on your breaking ball to pull it. So he doesn't go up there and try to do an awful lot. I like trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So he'll just take whatever Zach gives him. And I remember the last start against him, he had a couple hard ground balls to second baseman.
Zach has fallen behind 3-1. And speaking of home runs, Zach has not allowed one in his last 13 starts. Luis Hernandez handles a tricky hop, but throws out Laird, one away in the third inning. Let's take a look at tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison for Greinke and Jackson. And actually Jackson, who can get up there in the upper 90s, 97 in his first 2 innings, Zach at 96. And you can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. So 5 in a row set down by Greinke, and now pitches to Adam Everett. Talking about Everett yesterday and how when the Tigers signed him, figured he was going to be the everyday shortstop. He has gotten more playing time than Ramon Santiago, but not a whole lot more. That's hit to deep left. De Jesus chasing. The wind knocks it down. Everett is out, number 2.
When the thrower pitch is moving into a right-hander and he really gets the bat hit on it, as a pitcher you think, oh man, here goes the ball in the alley, and Zach's that's what the eyes tell the story right there. That's what the eyes are saying, please catch that ball.
Grab it, wind. Hit a bird. One and one to Granderson, who struck out swinging on a curveball to open the game. Granderson's 38th strikeout of the year. Past Greinke, backed up by Callaspo, and on the money to Butler. So again, Zach gets the Tigers in order. Sitting in the Buck O'Neill legacy seat at tonight's game, a registered nurse who received the Johnson County Senior Volunteer of the Year Award in 2008 from Prairie Village, Kansas, an active volunteer for Heart to Heart International. So welcome to Sue, and I'm sure she's enjoying the game from that great seat behind home plate. Fans, don't forget to nominate others who make a difference in our community for the All-Stars Among Us promotion, sending one worthy Royals fan to St. Louis for the 2009 All-Star Game. Fans can visit royals.com/community to submit nominations. Right over the bag and played by Polanco. That thing almost hit Jackson's glove on kind of a blind swipe, and then it almost hit second base.
It's one of those balls as a hitter you really wanted to hit the base because you never know which way it's going to go. So, you know, especially when you see the second baseman gaining on it. But Polanco made a really nice play right there.
So Jackson has faced 8, retired 7, and now Luis Hernandez. Trey Hillman, when Mike Aviles went on the disabled list, said that he wanted to get a look at Luis Hernandez, that it wouldn't just be Willie Bloomquist at shortstop. Two balls, no strikes. Hernandez first called up to the Royals when Tony Pena Jr. went on the disabled list, and it's just 1 for 8. And TJ's been very active during batting practice, taking some ground balls, starting to throw, increase the baseball activities. Out since breaking a bone in his left wrist in early May. There's TJ earlier today. It was his glove hand to the right side, and Polanco from the outfield grass throws out Hernandez. 2 down in the 3rd inning. Remember, coming up on Saturday, you can get a replica Monarchs jersey from Pepsi. The Royals take on the White Sox at 6:10. Gates are going to open at 3 o'clock, and this jersey is available to the first 20,000 fans. And the Royals and White Sox will be wearing vintage Negro League uniforms. So come on out on Saturday. Tickets at 1-800-6-ROYALS, royals.com, stadium box offices, or area Hy-Vee food stores. As Coco running up to bunt, missed. 1 strike, flied out to center field in the 1st inning.
Well, that's part of his game. He really needs to keep working on his bunting. If nothing else, it's going to get the defense out of position, open up some holes on the infield, and give them a better chance to get a base hit.
Great changeup. He's got a very slow and deliberate motion, which I would imagine makes his 95 to 96 look even faster.
Well, I tell you, between him and Zach tonight, there's some heat in this ballpark tonight when those guys get to throwing those fastballs 96, 97 miles an hour.
May have lost his balance delivering that 0-2 pitch. Well, that's one thing we haven't seen a whole lot of lately, and usually it's pretty common for hitters when they're not doing it, swinging the bat, lay down a bunt to get on base.
Well, that's what some of the imagination comes in of the hitter when you know you're not swinging the bat. But even at bunting, you got to look for the right situation to do it.
Jackson strikes out his first, and he has pitched 3 scoreless innings. game 2 of 3 and game 2 of a 6-game homestand. Now Bud Light Lime shows us what's on tap. Afternoon game tomorrow. Then the Royals are off on Thursday, and then the White Sox in town over the weekend. Then a long road trip for the Royals, 10 days, beginning at Tampa Bay in early June. The Royals will go to Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Cleveland on the next trip. Zach gave up a 1-out double to Placido Polanco, who bats now in the first inning, and then Polanco coming around on a Maglio Ordonez single. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tough luck for Zach, because even though he left the pitch up, Polanco was reaching and off balance, and then Ordonez's bat was shattered in half to drive in Polanco.
I'd say that's why pitching is such a delicate thing. Just off just a little bit, either down, that ball down a little bit, he may swing over it, but he just got enough bat on it by extending his left hand and just turned over and got it inside the line. They made an outstanding pitch to Ordonez. They even broke his bat.
That's sharply hit under Zach's glove and all the way out into center field. And Polanco, who hasn't had much trouble with Zach in his career, hitting over 300, well over 300, is 2 for 2 tonight. Fox Sports Kansas City is on Facebook, and tonight, for every strikeout Zach Greinke records, we're going to give away a Royals jersey to one of our Facebook fans. So if Zach strikes out 10, we'll give away 10 jerseys. We'll draw the winners and post the winning names on Facebook. And now Ordonez, whose bat broke in half when he hit a soft liner into left center field, scoring Polanco and extending his hitting streak to 12 games.
Well, I talked with Jim Leland before the game, and he said he will put on hit and runs with Maglio Ordonez and even Miguel Cabrera. He said Cabrera, at times when he doesn't feel like he's swinging the bat well, will come to him and say, I'll need a few more hit and runs. So that's really impressive that he can be able to do that.
Well, and there you go. Right on cue, Frank White. Polanco takes off, and that was very much a defend the runner type of a swing by Ordonez.
It's really nice when you have that many guys in your lineup that you can put it on with. And going back to when I was playing, I discussed this with you a few times about we would put our own hit runs on because we knew we weren't swinging the bat well. If we can stay back, see the ball longer, maybe catch the right infielder covering second base, then we get a few cheap base hits and kind of get yourself back online again.
Could be something that would help the Royals get back on track offensively.
But you just got to figure out what guys you can do it with. Jose Guillen and maybe Mike Jacobs wouldn't be 2 guys that you would do it with, but Billy Butler for sure is a guy that can handle the bat pretty well. And you just go down through your lineup with Tien, DeZeus, Coco Chris, Caspo. So there are guys that can do it. It's just getting the right situation, the right pitcher on the mound, and going from there.
Well, I mentioned Ordonez wasn't thrilled about facing Greinke when he singled home a run in the first inning. His batting average against Greinke went up from 129 to 156. And that's a thick 156. That's 32 at bats. He didn't go around. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a couple of guys in this lineup that Zach has just carved up over the years. Ordonez, one of them. The other is Curtis Granderson. He was hitting 160 in 25 at-bats, and he is 0 for 2 so far tonight. Now Polanco is more of a line drive, very short swing type of a guy, and it seems like the last 2 or 3 games against Zach, that's what the league has tried to do: shorten up the swing, use the middle of the field, use the opposite field.
And they know he likes to try to get his first pitch fastball over. He likes to establish it. And that's where that short swing comes in, and it's more of a 2-strike approach.
It's Ordonez looking at a fastball at 94.
And see, there's your 4-seam fastball right there. That has no movement. It's designed to stay straight. It's designed to be inside on the inside corner. And it's designed to do exactly what Ordonez did: raise his hands and give a little bit.
So it appears that right now the solution, or at least the approach, only one team has beaten Zach, And that was the Angels, and they scored 1 whole run in 8 innings. But at least the approach is just to maybe temporarily throw the power game out the window and go with more of a small game.
Well, you want to, but the one thing that helps Zach a lot, though, is that he's very rarely in the middle of the plate. You know, he's on the corners, and Polanco, being the professional hitter that he is, can stay out over the plate and just sort of flick the ball and play with it. But a lot of guys can't do that.
Cabrera grounded into a double play his first time. Breaks his bat, but the pitch was up, so it floats into center and puts 2 on 1 out for the Tigers. So Miguel Cabrera adds to his batting average, and that takes us into tonight's Firestone leaderboard, where Cabrera came in tonight leading the American League in hitting. So 378 coming in tonight. Now he's 1 for 2. Just 2 series ago, when the Royals played the Indians, Victor Martinez was hitting 400. Now he's down to 364. And I mentioned in the first inning that Martinez just yesterday had to snap an 0 for 18. And now Jeff Larish. Zach got him swinging first time up. This is outside for ball 1.
Now, Larish has really got a long swing, and it kind of pulls his head just a little bit. The hard slider, the hard fastball would be good for him, but I don't think I want to mess around with throwing him a slow curveball.
You know, something we haven't seen a whole lot of from Zach in his past 2 or 3 starts, pitching inside. I mean, way inside, like knocking somebody off the plate.
Well, that's one thing I noticed his last start, that he was mainly working the outside corners to right-handers and going away with lefties and coming down and under with 2 strikes. But you have to really, if you want the outside corner, then you got to get the hitters off the outside corner by pitching in.
1 ball, 1 strike on Larish.
But you take the guys that got the long swings, and you really don't want to pitch those guys in. You can stay away from those guys and take them a longer period of time to get to that outer half of the plate. So that would be good pitching to keep the fastball away and then come back under with a hard slider.
Back to Zach, who's an excellent fielder, on target to Hernandez. That's the 2nd double play turned by the Royals tonight. So 2 hits, but no runs for the Tigers in the 4th. And specifically Zach and Miggy, and they got up to a good start tonight against the very first hitter, Curtis Granderson.
Well, they did, Ryan, and he started him off with a fastball for a strike, then a curveball. He fouled off that fastball. Another curveball down under, even a better curveball for a strike 3. So that's classic Zach right there, with fastball, command, You know, getting it under control, establishing it, and then going back with his breaking stuff.
And now the Royals, second time through the order, only one base runner. First time through against Edwin Jackson, a 2-out double from Mark Teahan. DeJesus flied out to right, first time up. Down in the count 0-2. DeJesus, Butler, and Guillen coming up here in the fourth. Didn't quite get it as high as Laird wanted it, but Clete Thomas runs it down in shallow left field. So David is 0 for 2, and now Billy Butler. Well, how do teams do against Zach Jackson? More times they flip the batting order and they get better, but only a little better. Still only hitting .231 the third time they face him.
That's not very good. That means he's still in control at that point.
Fourth best ERA in the American League coming in. Billy thought that was a little high and tight. Wide out to center in the first inning. Hit hard to short. Adam Everett throws him out. So Jackson just keeps rolling along, and 2 down in the fourth. Well, this being Wednesday night, it's an Inc. College night at Kauffman Stadium, so high school and college students enjoying the deals, which includes a $7 lower level seat if you have a valid high school or college ID. Let me take that back. What day is today? Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow is Inc. College night. See, I'm already into that. Every day is Tuesday or Wednesday during the baseball season. So tomorrow night, $7 tickets for high school and college students with a valid school ID. And the Royals are also going to have a happy hour special with concession deals in the outfield experience. So Inc. College night tomorrow will be Inc. College day with a 1:10 first pitch.
I think it's those day games. You know, when I was playing, every time I played a day game, I always used to think the next day was Monday.
That's right.
We didn't play a lot of them. So those day games can throw you off.
Guillen lined to center his first time up. And again, Laird wanted the pitch up. That'll land in the seats off the right field side. The Royals really have only had 3 balls hit on the nose against Jackson in 3 2/3 innings. Guillen's line to center, Teahan's double, that was in the second, and now Butler's sharp ground ball to short. One ball, 2 strikes. Edwin Jackson was 20 years old when he made his major league debut. That was 6 years ago, pitching for the Dodgers against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he beat Randy Johnson. So where do you go from there? Into right, the wind will push it, but Ordonez runs it down, and Edwin Jackson in control tonight. He's given up 1 hit in 4 innings. innings with Zach Greinke and Edwin Jackson. So if you want another 13-1 game like yesterday, I don't think tonight is your night.
I don't think so either, man. Both guys are filling the zone up with heat and good breaking balls. And, you know, for the Royals, Zach is keeping the game close. And they just waiting for some offense to come along. And this is a great night to get that offense. So Zach is doing exactly what he's supposed to do tonight and keep the score down and keep his team in a position to score some runs and win the ball game.
Outside to Brandon Inge, and Zach is going to do it with a brand new center fielder here in the 5th inning as Mitch Meyer takes over for Coco Crisp. Hit hard off of Tien's knee and into left field. It was hit hard and it was a tricky hop. That'll be a base hit for Brandon Inge.
Well, and this is why they called the hot box right here. But Mark got an in-between hop and tried to stay in front of it, but that's that one where you get on the side and you change your glove angle the other way rather than try to come up with it like Mark was trying to bring it up. You just turn the glove over and try to catch it, you know, with the glove angle, with the fingers up rather than down.
Inge isn't typically a stolen base threat, but with someone like Zach Greinke on the mound, always a chance for a hit and run or try to be creative because you figure this isn't a guy who's going to give up a big inning. One stolen base and 3 attempts for Inge.
Yeah, normally when you got 2 guys locked up like this, basically you're trying to figure out, okay, it's a regular game. Everybody's playing back. Both pitchers are making pitches. Both pitchers getting their fly balls, getting their outs. I got to do something to break one of these pitchers' rhythm. So whether it be a hit and run, a stolen base, whatever it may be, you got to do something to change this game.
And as you were saying an inning ago, Jim Leyland will hit and run with just about anyone in his lineup.
I think the one thing about that, though, Ryan, is that.
And there goes Inge. Chance for 2. Out at second, double play. Well, you talk about lightning quick up the middle. Callaspo to Hernandez, and then Hernandez unloading the throw.
Well, that was a nice double play right there. That's probably was a hit and run right there. But the worst place to hit a hit and run is up the middle because both middle infielders are converging to second base. But that was a nice exchange. He kept it up. The one thing they didn't do really, they didn't clear each other very well. And Hernandez kind of had that look on his face like he was going to get bumped. Right here where they come through there, then he just made a good shot to first base. I mean, that was a good double play.
And the third one behind Zach Greinke. Got one in the first inning off the bat of Cabrera, from Larish in the 4th, and now Thomas in the 5th. So 2 down. Gerald Laird grounded out to Hernandez in the 3rd inning. One ball, one strike. Well, Jim Leyland, in fact, trying to be creative against Zach Greinke, and sitting back and waiting for the long ball is not a good strategy against Zach this year. He has not given up a home run. You have to go back to early September of last year. Last time he allowed a home run, that was against Oakland and Derek Barton. That was 13 starts ago. Just barely got a piece. That's exactly where Olivo wanted it. Butler over near the tarp, in and out of his glove. And I'm assuming he knew he was getting close to that tarp. Nobody reaches, but Butler is charged with an error.
But right here, it's almost like he just didn't really know where he was on this pop-up. He had the corner of the dugout to worry about. He hit that a few days earlier. And then he's got the top he's running toward. But you always got to take that last look down and see where you are, and then look back up and pick the ball up.
Two and two. Zach's pitch count tonight brought to you by James B. Nutter and Company. 9 pitches in this inning and 62 overall. He has not thrown more than 15 in a single inning tonight. 3-2. There really is a lot going on, especially on that side with that corner of the dugout suite that you talked about and the tarp. And that ball wasn't hit that high where Butler had time to take a look and then find the ball again. That was something you did not have to worry about when you were playing second base. There were no dugout suites.
There were no dugout suites, and it's almost have to do it in your first couple steps. You just got to look the direction you're going and try to stay on that line. But if you get over there and you're close to it, then you're going to pull back a little bit.
Well, Butler commits the error. Zach needs to throw 4 more pitches and tosses a scoreless 5th. Maglia Ordonez with an RBI single. After the game, Boulevard Royals live from Rivals Sports Bar out in right field, where they have the windows open on a 70-degree night in Kansas City. Joel and Jamie with highlights and analysis. Interviews from the field brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. Mike Jacobs, Mark Teahan, Alberto Callaspo. The Royals have 1 base runner in the first 4 innings. And it's going to be a long night if the Royals are going after that pitch. 96 shoulder high.
I don't think players were designed to hit that ball.
That's more in Jake's hitting zone, backhanded by Polanco. 1 down in the 5th inning. Well, we found out during the break that Coco left with a sore right shoulder. Here are his last 2 swings when he struck out against Jackson in the 3rd.
Well, he just had no transfer of his weight at all. It was just all arms, and you see how his body was going, and just all arm swinging right there. I can see where they could put a lot of stress on the shoulder.
Meyer batting in the leadoff position. Jackson has retired the last 9. Only Royal to reach is standing at the plate now. Mark Teahan, who hit the chain link fence in front of the Tiger bullpen in the 2nd inning, resulting in his 11th double of the year. Two and one. Talking to Rod Allen, who is the television announcer for the Tigers, and was saying that when Zach Jackson was with Tampa Bay, he always had the great stuff. I mean, you're throwing mid to upper 90s. I mean, that very few guys in the major leagues can do that. But when he was pitching with Tampa Bay, the Rays wanted him to be more aggressive. Teahan grounds out to second base. That's 10 in a row retired. So Joe Madden had an idea. He got a hold of some old Bob Gibson tapes. There's Rod, former major league outfielder, and he had Edwin Jackson watch Bob Gibson and said, I'm not saying you should be Bob Gibson, but learning about how aggressive he was and how he would pitch inside, and he just had an attitude about him, didn't back down to anyone. And Edwin Jackson loved watching those tapes, and as a result took his game to another level.
Well, he's got the arm, and he's got the slider. You know, Bob Gibson was a power fastball, power slider guy, and he's got that great changeup to throw in between there. So it's all about a mindset when you got the stuff to win.
Even when the Royals hit it hard, it's right at someone tonight. 3 ground balls to Polanco, and Jackson just keeps rolling along. Defense. Here's the Coors Light freeze cam. 3 double plays behind Zach, including this one in a very quick exchange by Aspo Hernandez to Butler on a ground ball from Cleat Thomas. Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. So Zach Greinke and Edwin Jackson have given up 1 run, 6 hits combined in 5 innings. Adam Everett will lead off, lined out to left, first time up. I said Zach Jackson last inning. I knew I was going to say that tonight. And when you take Zach Greinke and Edwin Jackson and you put them together, first of all, that's a Cy Young pitcher. But there's a difference between Edwin Jackson and Zach Greinke and Zach Jackson, who pitches for the Cleveland Indians. So my apologies. But I knew I was going to say that before that game started. So 9-1-2 coming up against Zach in the 6th, and Everett bunting his way on, and that's going to roll foul. Well, we've had a couple of stories the last 2 nights about guys watching other pitchers. You know, talked about last inning, Edwin Jackson watching Bob Gibson. You pointed out last night that Justin Verlander gained something from watching Zach Greinke pitch the last time the Tigers were in town.
Well, I think everybody needs to kind of check themselves, and everybody likes to look at someone who kind of reminds them of themselves. And if you're a guy that was as dominant as Verlander was, and then all of a sudden you hit up on hard times, and you got to go back to the film and look at yourself, and well, Zach Greinke's having a great success. What's he doing different? And it turned out that aggressiveness was probably the main focus, and aggressiveness were the main 2 words that came out of that.
Well, there are very few pitchers at this level who will attribute their success to not being very aggressive. Well, doesn't it seem it always gets back to every guy?
And whenever guys have success, especially in this game of baseball, you have to be first confident and aggressive at the same time.
Ball 1 on Granderson, who is 0 for 2. Deep into the right field corner and hooking. And just foul. 1 ball, 1 strike on Granderson. Well, later this week is your next chance to see Hy-Vee Pepsi fireworks at Kauffman Stadium. After the Thursday off day, the Royals begin a 3-game series with the White Sox at 7:10. Fireworks after the game. Important division games against the Tigers and the White Sox on this homestand right now. Chicago is in 4th, 4 games below 500. 1-2 on Granderson. Somehow able to make contact and hit that into left center field. Slider down and in, and somehow hit it that way.
Especially after that swing of the one before. He was almost trying to swing and jump out of the way of the one before, but right here he just really does what he had to do right there. Kept his head down, got the bat head up to the ball, and stayed inside of it. You know, they hit it well after that pitch before. That's got to make it feel pretty good.
And Polanco, who's 2 for 2, hits one to shallow center. It's that time of night where it's tough to see the ball, but Meyer taking charge, and Greinke knocks down the Tigers in order in the 6th.
To the bottom of the 6th, and this is our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Tony Murrow from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Tony will win $1,300. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Tony will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
And it'll be Miguel Olivo, Luis Hernandez, and Coco Crisp in the bottom of the 6th inning. 1 hit, 1 base runner for the Royals against Edwin Jackson, and that was Mark Tien's 2-out double back in the 2nd inning. So Jackson has retired 11 in a row. You got Olivo to ground out to second his first time, and Miguel hit a knuckleball. You see that thing floating all over the place out there? Curtis Granderson had to talk about a hitter waiting on the ball. He had to wait because this thing moved in about 4 different directions.
Well, that's it. Looked like this changeup has stayed up out over the plate, and Miguel stayed on it. But the key thing being up, and he did a good job of hitting the ball back through the middle.
Tough to see from that angle, but that ball started to slice a bit towards right center, and then all of a sudden it took a left turn back towards left. And now Luis Hernandez, who may be asked to lay down a bunt. Inge is in at third just in case. And Jackson backing off the rubber to see if Hernandez might tip his hand.
Yeah, they will do that, and then they'll turn around and they'll throw to first base, see if he give it away also, and that'll tell the defense what play they want to run.
Olivo's running, and the Royals try the hit and run, and that's just foul. So a play the Royals don't use very often, and almost had runners at first and third, if not further, and nobody out.
Well, when a guy's throwing like Jackson's throwing tonight, you have to do something to break it, to break the timing of the pitcher, and usually it's either by bunt or by hit and run or by stolen base. Miguel got a great jump, and Hernandez's ball just barely missed the line down the left field line.
Hernandez grounded out to second his first time. Let's see what Trey does with him now with 1 strike. And again, Jackson keeping a close eye on Olivo. Well, you lay down a sac bunt, you want 1 base. You execute a hit and run, you get 2 bases.
You get 2. You're looking first and third.
And laying on a bunt. Good one. Jackson losing his footing and throws it away. Olivo's going to be held at third. Big break for the Royals. Jackson was not under control before he unloaded that throw.
Listen, Hernandez does a great job getting the bunt down, stayed there, got it down. Just great technique right off the end of the bat. The good thing about that, he bunted before he ran, and that's what you do in a sacrifice. And Jackson really got his feet mixed up there, and that was enough to throw him off. So just take a look at his feet right there. His right foot slipped from under him, and he never could regain the balance that he needed to make a nice throw to first base.
Look at how far Hernandez was from first base. He came flying off the mound. He had more time than that, didn't he? I mean,
well, when a guy bunts like that, you don't know how fast he really is as a pitcher. You just want to get there, get the ball, and really just take your time and make a good pitch. But what Hernandez did good was he stayed there. He knew he was out, and he got the bunt down. But when you have pitchers locked up in a duel like Zach Greinke and Edwin Jackson is, sometimes it just takes a bunt to change the game around. See, backhands the ball, but he never really got his feet back under him.
Well, how many times you see it? A guy who was not in the original starting lineup pressed into duty, and Mitch Meyer came on in the 4th because Coco Crisp had a sore right shoulder. Now Meyer has a chance to tie the game and or put the Royals in front. And he tries to bunt his way on. Now that's a play we've been waiting to see for a while. Royals have had a tough time getting that runner home from third with less than 2 outs, and Like Mitch was trying to bunt his way on from a base hit and leave it up to Olivo whether he would score or not.
Well, that's a real tough play if the guy on third doesn't know you're going to be bunting right there, because if you bunt it too hard to third, they still have a play at the plate. You always got to let the guys on the base know exactly what you're doing and when you're doing it, and especially at third base. He's still got the infield back in the middle. He still has a chance to hit a ground ball and get a run in and tie the ball game there.
1-1 to Meyer, who scored the only run for the Royals yesterday, tripled in the 8th inning.
The reason I don't agree with that play, Ryan, is because you got your third baseman in and the first baseman in, so you got to bunt the ball to one of those two guys. So if the guy on third is not coming on a squeeze, then it's got to be a perfect bunt to score him at that point.
What if he's dragging it to the first base side, though, and gets it past the mound?
If he's going at the second baseman, yes. If he's going to the corners, I don't agree with that one.
That is into right center field. The Royals are going to take the lead. So there you go. I say it again. Someone who was not even supposed to be in the starting lineup ends up having a big impact in the game.
Well, I agree with that base hit right there.
Boy, that's going out on a limb.
I agree with him hitting that ball to the second baseman right there. Whether it's a base hit or the ball gets caught, I really agree with what he did right there. Keep the ball in the middle of the field.
That's why we pay you the big bucks.
You got to have a feel for this stuff.
Yeah, I tell you what, folks, those of you who have one of those satellite packages, you could scan all the major league games available to you all night, and you will not find anything close to that anywhere else.
Nowhere. You hit the ball in the middle of the field, you got you an easy RBI. If you get a base hit, you just clap and now you got 2 RBI. So he did a great job.
Well, in all seriousness, I know what you're talking about, because we have gone over that situation many times. That if you're going to make an out, at the 2 places to go in the outfield, deep enough for a tag or a ground ball up the middle.
Well, with those 2 guys back and you take the bunt away, then you got 5 ways to score that guy without getting a base hit. The base hit is really the icing on the cake.
David has flied to right, flied to left.
I think he caught Mitch leaning there.
I was thinking the same thing.
So Mitch is probably thinking about trying to steal a base.
Well, Trey has already tried a hit and run earlier in this inning. Almost executed by Hernandez, who just hit it foul off the left field line. And then Hernandez putting down the sac bunt. Jackson threw it off the tarp, and that got the Royals going. And Meyer is running, and DeJesus fouls it away.
I think that was a hit and run also, Ryan. Mitch left so late that it really gave an indication that it was a hit and run, because he really didn't want to get picked off after that, especially after the first time he got caught leaning.
Now David 0 for 2 tonight, and now hitting .239. There's still nobody out. He allowed Hernandez to try 1 hit and run and then went to the sac bunt. He might do the same thing with David. And he does. David gets it down. Another opportunity for Jackson. Picked that one up with his bare hand. And he throws out to Jesus, but that was kind of a shaky looking play. The Royals executing very well here in the 6th. Meyer at second for Billy Butler. Our next telecast in high definition is coming up tomorrow. It's a 1:10 game. Royals will be pitching Kyle Davies, 20-year-old Rick Porcello for Detroit. Coverage begins at 12:30. Brought to you in HD by Time Warner Cable. So 2 sac bunts in the inning. Billy Butler has flied to center, grounded sharply to short. Off the end of the bat and into right field. Meyer had to hold to make sure that it got through. First and third, 1 out. Guillen coming up.
And the rule of thumb, Ryan, is that the ball is hit higher or lower, you have to make sure it goes through. Mitch does a good job here of reading this line drive by Billy Butler.
So Billy 1 for 3, and now Guillen, who hit one right on the nose in the second inning, but lined to center and then flied out to right. Inside across the knees. Well, before this inning, Edwin Jackson had given up 1 hit in 5 innings. And he'd retired 11 in a row. Olivo opened the inning with a single. Hernandez a sac bunt. Jackson threw it away. Meyer singling to score Olivo and Hernandez. Guillen late on the fastball. And the count 1-1. It has been almost a week and a half since the Royals have scored more than 1 run in an inning. You have to go back to a week ago Sunday the 17th. One ball, 2 strikes. Meyer at third, Butler at first. Blocked by Laird, and that saved a run. And Laird had no intention at all of catching that ball. He was just using his body to keep it in front of him.
Well, that's where they get that glove out of the way, and that ball doesn't have a chance to hit off that glove and go left and right. He just lets it hit it right in the chest, and he knows it's going to kick right back out in front of the plate.
Hit hard left side. Royals lead 3-1. Guillen drives in his 21st of the year.
When they give you big guys a chance to swing the bat, they will, but look at his eyes right on the bat. The top hand came through. The eyes, bat. You see the muscles in his arm just sort of get out there and just flex. And here where you get to really see the hands turn over here on this ball. They just hit it right in the 6 hole for an RBI single.
And now ball 1 on Jacobs, who is 0 for 2. You know, the interesting thing about this inning is that when Jackson made the throwing error to put runners at second and third and nobody out, Jim Leyland went to the mound. You get the feeling he went out there to calm down Edwin Jackson because of the throwing error, make sure he didn't get too upset about the error, try and help him to hold it together, but things have unraveled since then.
Yeah, it goes back to what we talk about a lot of times. The guy's pitching a great game and he's locked in and nothing out of the norm is happening, and all of a sudden a couple bunts are thrown down. You got to react a lot faster than you normally do. And when he comes to the third baseline, pitchers just aren't used to making that play and making that long throw. And I think Jim did want to just calm him down and just try to keep him focused. But another bunt, you know, it's amazing what that little game can do to just get everybody out of their comfort zone.
Laird down to second base, and crawling back to the bag is Butler, and he's out. Heads up play by Gerald Laird. 2 away.
Well, this is Billy taking a secondary and saying the right foot slipped and hurt him when he went back. So, well, you can see his right foot right there. That's a horrible feeling right there.
So Guillen at first, 2 down, and now 3-1 on Jacobs. Well, it's a great throw by Laird, but he has to have communication with Everett, and maybe Everett saw something at shortstop. Who knows who made that call?
Well, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll just watch how aggressively the base runner comes off, and then they'll wait to see how long it takes him to make the decision and go back on the secondary. And if they see there's a daylight in between that, then they have a sign between each other, and they will put that play on.
Now walk to Mike Jacobs, so first and second, 2 down.
If you take a look at it, you see Everett, he's back behind Billy, so Billy should know where he's at. So Billy takes a real aggressive secondary, and so as Billy's still taking his secondary, Everett's already broken to the back. That was pick-off play right away, and then the only bad thing there is Everett broke to the base before the pitch was in the hitting zone. So if there was a situation for a ground ball base hit, it would have been right there.
So the Royals replaced the runner with Jacobs taking the walk, bringing up Tien. The 22nd pitch of the inning. Tien doubled back in the second. Edwin Jackson had not faced more than 4 batters in a single inning before this one, and now Mark Tien is the 8th batter that he faces. And Tien hits it hard to left. Clay Thomas didn't read it, but adjusts and makes the catch. Almost misplayed it into another double. Royals get 3 and take the lead. Meyer drives in 2. Guillen drives in the 3rd. Big inning in the bottom of the 6th. A couple of sack bunts, a big throwing error by Edwin Jackson. Mitch Meyer driving in 2. Jose Guillen driving in a run. And Zach starting to feel comfortable on the mound. Just 3 singles against Zach since the first inning, and Jose Guillen having a little chat with Butler, who had been picked off by Gerald Laird in the Royals' 3-run 6th inning.
Well, it's an embarrassing moment when you get picked off second base like that, and I think Jose just wanted to make sure he was still focused, and he forgets about it, leave it in the dugout. It's time to play defense.
One and 1 to Ordonez, who has driven in the Tigers' run. Had his bat broken in half, but hit a soft liner into left center in the first inning, scoring Polanco. It's that one off the end of the bat, and Hernandez, who dropped down the bunt that resulted in the throwing error, takes care of Maglio Ordonez. I want to remind you again about Royals alumni fan batting practice. It's coming up again on July the 11th, 8 a.m. till noon here at Kauffman Stadium. 10 Royals alumni will be here to work with you. And this year the Royals are inviting moms to come out and join Dad and the kids. It's $300 per adult. As Zach flips a curve at 63 to Cabrera. So $300 per adult, $100 for each kid. It's limited to 40 spots. So call now, 816-504-4150. Cabrera has singled and grounded into one of the 3 double plays the Royals have turned tonight. Zach reaching back at 96 on that one. It's still 0-2.
Well, the thing that Miguel and Zach have been on the same page is Miguel's really been looking at when to elevate the fastball to change the eye level, and usually when they do that, he wants to come back down with the hard breaking ball away.
Well, he's got some quick hands. If he can, I mean, he's just not barely making contact. He's kind of timing that pitch that was up. The last 2, Olivo wanted him up.
Well, if you're a high fastball hitter, you're gonna be right up there with it. So the thing he's doing is he's really hitting that ball like he's seeing it very well.
Now gets a piece of the slider, so he's fouled off 4 in a row.
Yeah, his bat stays in the line in the hitting zone a long time.
That is an amazing number. I'll bet you 90% of pitchers, it's the reverse. He went around, 4 strikeouts, make that 5 for Zach in 6 2/3 innings.
Well, this is what you have to do with Miguel Cabrera. You got to get it off the plate, and he'll chase that. But anything on the plate, his bat stays in his zone a long time. He fouls off some tough balls. So Zach made a great adjustment there, getting that slider off the plate and down.
Look at that. 227 and then 100 points less 3rd time through the order. And as I said, I don't know this for a fact, but I'll bet 85 to 90% of pitchers, the average incrementally goes up 1st time, 2nd time, 3rd time through the order. His goes down, and then it goes way down 3rd time through.
Well, it means he's probably just gets stronger as the game goes.
I mean, real stronger. Larish is grounded into a double play and struck out. One and 2.
Well, this is the first game that Olivo and Zach worked together, where Olivo's actually stood up and asked for pitches up out of the zone, and that's just a good indication that they are getting together and they're putting together a strong game plan coming into the game.
Still 2 and 2. Got him with the slider. So pitching with the lead for the first time tonight. Now Zach Greinke in command. He is retired the last 5, and he has struck out 3 along the way. riding the Z train. And Zach has given up 1 run. That was way back in the first inning. And the Royals coming up with 3 in the bottom of the 6th. And Alberto Callaspo against Edwin Jackson taking ball 1. 2 ground balls to second base for Callaspo against Jackson. 1-1. Panera takes us around the American League, where Baltimore is about to defeat Toronto, and now Toronto about to lose their 8th in a row. Cleveland starting to pick things up, trying to move within 10 games below 500 to delay New York at Texas. Yankees just 1 game back of Boston in the East. 44 RBIs for Justin Morneau. Twins 2 games below 500 coming in tonight, and 2 games out on the West Coast. Callaspo, Olivo, and Hernandez. Royals batted 8, scored 3 against Edwin Jackson in the 6th inning after getting just 1 base runner in the first 5 innings. Off the end of the bat and into left field. So no runs, 5 hits in the first 5 innings. 3 runs, 5 hits in the last 1+ inning. Let's take a look again at tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. Who was the most important pitcher to his team? Royals fans, are they voting with their heads or their hearts? I think both.
I think so too.
80%. Well, as Olivo fouls it away. If you look at the Royals record and Zach's record, and it takes more than one guy to put together a championship team, but the Tigers are 8 games above 500. And Justin Verlander has won 7 games. So he alone, or excuse me, he's won 5 games. So he alone is just 3 games over 500. So you take away his record, and the Tigers are still significantly above 500. The Royals, though, are 1 game under 500 coming in. And Zach alone is 6 games above. So you take away Zach Greinke, and the Royals all of a sudden are 6 games below 500.
I think that's what the fans were saying in their vote, that hey, Zach Greinke to the Royals is most valuable than any other pitcher to their team at this point.
Now that vote might have been a little bit different about 2.5 weeks ago, when the Royals were 6-7 games above 500, and Zach certainly was the headline, but he wasn't the only story. Miguel Olivo started that 3-run rally in the 6th inning with a single, and he, along with Luis Hernandez, scoring on a Mitch Meyer 2-run single. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
In the 6th inning, Miguel picked on a changeup, and really just the line kind of shows you how it went out there in knuckleball fashion. You see Granderson broke
See that thing?
Came back to his right. Yeah, Miguel has a tendency to want to open his body up to the pitch coming in, which makes the pitch look a lot worse than it really is. And
well, it ended up being a good setup pitch because he got Miggy to chase a slider down and away. Jackson strikes out his 2nd. Don't forget, you can stay connected to the game on your computer with MLB.tv. You'll get 100 out-of-market games per week. You can catch games you missed, and a premium subscription lets you pause, fast forward, and rewind live TV.
So they could have done that on Mitch Meyer's base hit.
Yep, they knew.
They knew that I knew.
Those who had a premium subscription knew before we did that Mitch Meyer was going to get a 2-run single. Because you can fast forward live TV. What will they think of next? They knew before Mitch knew. Edwin Jackson just threw it into the dugout suite. I'm not sure if that just got away from him or maybe there was a heckler that he wasn't happy with.
Well, it's really not a good play when you overthrow first base on a guy with no stolen bases and no stolen base attempts. You know? So to me, that's like your mind is not where it should be focused, and now you should be focused on the hitter and not on Cayaspo at first base.
That's Rick Knapp, the Tiger pitching coach. So Jackson is committed to throwing air in each of the last 2 innings. And both times, Frank, misjudging someone's speed. You just pointed out throwing over to first where you figure Cayaspo's not going anywhere. And then the throwing error on Hernandez, he jumped on that bunt like Willie Wilson had laid it down.
I think it's just the emotion and the panic of the bunt itself, and it's probably something he didn't expect. And when he saw it, he got to it so fast that he just lost his footing. And once he lost his footing, then he felt he had to rush.
Shallow left. Thomas with a diving attempt keeps it in front of him. Cayaspo had to make sure that he didn't catch it. So first and third, and 1 out for Meyer.
Thing about Luis, he doesn't really try to do too much at the plate, but just put the bat on the ball and just shorten up and try to take it to left field. Thomas came in and made a great attempt, but Alberto did a great job reading. You know, it's kind of like in no man's land, but with the dive, he would have had time to get back to second base, but he didn't panic and make a decision one way or the other. He let the play kind of play itself out.
Nate Robertson. Leading 3-1. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Tigers were ready for a squeeze. Pitching out with Meyer up there and Cayaspo at third base. Hernandez at first. Nate Robertson of Wichita, longtime member of the Tigers starting rotation. He was in their World Series rotation in '06, but pitching out of the bullpen since last August. 1-1 on Mitch Meyer. Meyer driving in 2 in the Royals' 3-run 6th inning.
He just stayed right in the middle of the field and hit a hard ground ball back up the middle and scored 2 runs for the Royals and put them ahead in the game.
An Olivo single, a Luis Hernandez bunt that Edwin Jackson fielded Fielded and threw away, setting up the Meyer base hit. Now trying to avoid a double play. Iaspo singled, went to second on a throwing error by Jackson, tried to pick him off and threw it into the dugout suite. And then with one out, Hernandez singled to left. And Jackson was removed. 2-1 on Meyer. Mitch was not in the starting lineup. Coco Crisp was in center field, but after Coco took an awkward swing on a strikeout in the third, Meyer replaced him on defense in the top of the fourth. To Cabrera, who's going to come to the plate, throws off line, and the Royals lead 4-1. Cabrera is still stunned over at first base. He missed that badly with the throw.
The one thing he did, he kind of stayed back. He didn't really go get it. If he'd had momentum going forward, he'd have got rid of it a lot easier. But he's kind of flat-footed when he caught it. Then he had to try to rush it to the plate and got it to the wrong side of the bag of home plate.
So it's a fielder's choice. And an RBI for Meyer, and Robertson almost caught Hernandez. Luckily no one was over there to cover. So there's not been a good night on defense for the Tigers. They have committed 2 errors, and before tonight had 1 error in their last 11 games. But 2 errors committed by Jackson, and then a play that isn't called an error but a misplay on the bad throw by Cabrera. Ball 1 on David DeJesus.
Boy, in Trey's meeting today, he said they could use a little bit of luck, and right there, that was a little bit of luck right there.
Well, then Trey needs to ask for that a little more often. I mean, if it's that easy. Trey saying before the game that even though the Royals are not playing well now, that Royals came out before batting practice, did some PFPs, pitcher fielding practice, working on execution of the bunt, double steal, plays like that. And Trey very encouraged, not just with the way the Royals executed the practice, but the attitude of the guys. Nobody complaining that they had to come out early today and work on those things.
Well, this is part of their routine, starting in spring training, and he carried it on throughout last season. And so you can't really change your routine because of how your team is playing. You just got to keep things going the way it's supposed to be going.
Laird to the screen, makes a nice play, and fires down to second base to try and get Hernandez. Looks like a Royals fan at the screen who's kind of pushing the screen towards Laird to give him less room to make the play.
That's a play right there where you, Luis Hernandez, on second base. You want to go back and tag up on this play, and then just start making your move toward third base. But if you don't go back and tag, then there's no reason to be off the base and have a play like that made on you at second base.
is out. Don't forget, fans, about the Bob Evans bases loaded 4-pack. It's every Friday and Sunday game. 4 Royals tickets. Each ticket has $10 you can use toward anything in the ballpark, and all that for just $60. And on Sundays, don't forget to stick around and run the bases in the Sprint Fun Run. The Bob Evans bases loaded 4-packs every Friday and Sunday. So Brandon Lyon to face Billy Butler, who is 1 for 3. Curveball for strike 1. Billy singled in the Royals' 3-run 6, but then was picked off of second by Tiger catcher Gerald Laird. So 18th game for Brandon Lyon, who was originally signed to compete for the Tiger closer's role and then lost out to Fernando Rodney. 0-2. Walks have been an issue for Brandon Lyon, and that is not typically an issue for him. Last year, he walked 4 in over 52 innings. But this year, 11 walks in 19 innings. 1-2 to Butler. Billy batting with Hernandez at second base, Meyer at first. Callaspo has scored to make it a 4-1 game. In on the fist, and right there for Gerald Laird, who makes the last 2 plays on foul pops. Royals at a run, and at the end of 7 have given Zach Greinke a 3-run lead. Your world delivered. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. 6 strikeouts and a 3-run lead for Greinke as we go to the 8th inning. And jumps ahead of Brandon in. Zach has retired the last 8. Zach righted 90 pitches. So he's in good shape to go the distance. He already has 4 complete games this year. Brandon Inge singled last time up, but then was part of a double play. That was the slickest double play, if you will, the Royals have turned among the 3 tonight. With Callaspo and Hernandez very close to one another at the bag, and needed a very quick transfer to retire Inge and then Cleat Thomas. And these guys have not played together much.
Not very much at all, other than maybe turning some double plays together in spring training.
Did he go? Yes, says Bill Hahn. 7 strikeouts for Greinke and 80 this year. Zach still 5 strikeouts behind Justin Verlander, who had 7 yesterday to get him to 85 for the American League lead. And I think when fans come out to Kauffman Stadium, they bring a whole pile of those K's and Z's. You never know how many Zach's going to get. And he has been in double digits 3 times. He has struck out 10 Rangers, then 10 Tigers back on April the 24th, and then struck out 10 White Sox. Now a ground ball to Callaspo. 2 down in the 8th inning. Now those look like they were made on the fly. These took a little more work with the computer before the game tonight. Either that or a very quick and good artist.
I know Raw fans in the Z's, they running out of places to hang them. Some of the fans, I'll just get a T-shirt with a Z on it. That'll be it.
Laird gets it past Tien and Hernandez. So Zach had retired 10 in a row. Laird is 1 for 3. So Zach had 97 pitches. You'd really like to see him go the distance. Now, the Royals do have an off day on Thursday and a day game tomorrow, but still the bullpen has been used quite a bit over the past week. So even with an off day coming up, it would be nice to have Trey Ullman only have to use 1 pitcher tonight.
Yeah, that would be nice. You can tell by the way the bullpen's been worked that they could use it, and Zach just throws a nice quick slider right there in the strike zone.
And just needles the outside.
Well, this is what he does, Ryan, when he uses that 4-seamer. It stays straight and right on the outside corner.
Skips away from Olivo, so Laird down to second on a wild pitch.
Now this is what I like, is when the Raw crowd is on their feet, they're the ones screaming for the strikeout, the last pitch. This is good. I think they're starting to believe it now when they do this.
And the way Zach bounced that breaking ball, I think he wanted to give the fans what they wanted.
That'd be a great way to walk off the field.
To Hernandez at short. Everett is out. Zach has allowed 1 run in 8 innings. Colorado Tourism. Plan your summer vacation at Colorado.com. Beautiful shot of Kauffman Stadium on a nice night, almost fall-like.
That's beautiful.
Jose Guillen 1 for 3 with an RBI.
It'd be nice to be fall and we're still playing.
Yeah, usually when you're playing well and the weather feels like this, it's been a good year. Pounded deep left center field. Guillen has belted his 4th of the year.
Certain hitters, when you leave the ball up, they don't miss, and Jose gets his fastball up, middle in, and just hit it at a great spot in left center field.
That's the 5th home run given up by Brandon Lyon in about 20 innings.
Hey, just take a look at this pitch right here. Just stays straight up out over the plate, and he just didn't miss it. He got really, well, if you watch the way his hands come through, watch the bat hit, how he throws it out there, and the hands roll over. Well, that is sweet. That's a sweet swing right there.
Now Jacobs slices it towards the left field corner. Thomas cuts it off deep. Jacobs wants a double and just beats the throw.
We've been kind of waiting to see a few more of these, from Mike Jacobs. But he's usually pulling the ball a lot. But I mean, if he gets to hitting some balls like that, then the defense can play him a little more honest.
Now Jacobs is going to come out for a pinch runner, Tug Hewlett. So Jacobs ends his night 1 for 3 with a double. The Tigers are going to play like they're still in this thing. They're going to walk Martin, try and set up a double play with Alberto Callaspo. And it appears that the Tigers will still be facing Zach Greinke when we get to the top of the 9th inning. Zach is at 101 pitches. So that's going to be a heavy lift for Jim Leland to try and get at least 4 in the 9th against Zach.
If the Royals are able to push across a few more runs here, Trey Hillman may change his mind and go to someone in the bullpen.
Well, nobody warming up in the Tiger bullpen, so Jim Leland going to go out there and maybe talk about defense here in case Alberto Callaspo lays down a bunt. Well, Trey Hillman could certainly say, hey, 4-run lead's nice. 8-run lead would be great, but let's see if we can just maybe add one more.
Yeah, I think that would be a smart thing to do right here. Just keep the pressure on and just keep that theme that you had for this game going.
Ball 1 outside. To the right side, Cabrera is going to go down to second base, and the Tigers will get 1 out. So Hewlett to third, Callaspo at first, and Miguel Olivo to the plate. Miguel started the 3-run 6th inning with a single. And then Hernandez just trying to lay down a bunt and get Olivo to second. Royals trying to tie the game at 1, but Edwin Jackson fielding that bunt threw it off the tarp behind first base. That put runners at second and third. Meyer getting those runners home, and then Mitch coming around on a Jose Guillen base hit. Now the Royals with single runs in the 7th inning and in this inning on the Guillen home run. And now it's 0-1 on Olivo.
Well, this is really where Miguel Ryan can really just settle back and get a good pitch to hit. The pressure's on lines is not on him, and you know, he chased a bad ball the first pitch. This is where you can just sit back and get your pitch. Then you got the lead in the game. You can relax a little bit more as a hitter.
0-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Brandon Lyon got the final out of the 7th inning, and now in the 8th has given up a home run to Guillen. And first and third, 1 out. Olivo thought about it. 2-2. Doug Hewlett running for Mike Jacobs, who doubled following the Guillen home run. Iaspo on base with a fielder's choice. Still 2-2. Coming up on Boulevard Royals Live after the game with Joel Goldberg and Jamie Quirk. Does Zach improve his home record to 6-0? He has 3 outs to go. The Royals in the 6th inning, scoring 3 runs to take the lead. And Zach trying to come up with his 8th win before June the 1st. That would be the 2nd most in Royals history. Brett Saberhagen one year had 9. Iaspo's running. The Tigers will get just 1 out, and Olivo ends up driving in Doug Hewlett to make it 6-1.
Olivo really gets jammed on this ball, and he hits the right ball in the right situation with Caspo running.
Now Luis Hernandez. His sacrifice bunt in the 6th inning is the key of the game.
Well, he really got it going. He really changed things and kind of broke the rhythm of Edwin Jackson, and he really never recovered from that bunt.
Well, the Royals coming in tonight had scored 4 runs in their last 42 innings. 6 runs against the Tigers, and Trey doing some things he doesn't normally do. Doesn't normally lay down a lot of sac bunts, not a lot of hit and runs, but twice tried to hit and run. Twice the Royals got down a sac bunt and have 6 runs on 9 hits, and doing that against one of the best pitchers in the American League this year in Edwin Jackson.
Yeah, it's just really taking advantage of the right situation. You know, the right guy at the plate, right guy on the base, and that just really, when you got 2 pitchers that were pitching the games that Zach Greinke and Edwin Jackson were pitching, somebody had to do something to try to break the routine. Jim Leland tried a couple hit and runs early against Zach Greinke that didn't work, but that's really how you have to play the game.
2-2 to Hernandez. It's been exactly a week since the Royals have scored this many runs in a game. That was the 6-5 win over the Indians, and the Royals scored 4 in the bottom of the 9th against Kerry Wood. Back towards us and just below us. So an impressive night on offense, but I think what's even more impressive about it, Frank, is that the Royals did nothing in the first 5 innings against Edwin Jackson. It could have been another one of those nights, but 3 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, and a 5-run lead for Zach Greinke.
Well, just really a credit to Zach for hanging in there. You know, the one run in the first inning, and all of a sudden he just put some zeros on the board and just kept. The more zeros you put on the board, the better chance you give your offense a chance to get something going. So he really hung in there and got it done.
And just becoming one of those guys, like so many great pitchers in the history of baseball, if you don't get him early, and if he settles in, forget it.
When you look at that batting average against from the 3rd time through, 127. That's pretty amazing right there. So he actually gets stronger as the game goes.
Hit hard to center, but again, Granderson shallow and makes the play. 2 more home for the Royals in the 8th. Zach Greinke will be going for his 5th complete game. Jose Guillen. Came out of the dugout for the 9th inning, going for his 5th complete game. And we've been talking all night about how Zach gets stronger as the game goes. First time through the order, 2nd time, 3rd time. Well, he's going to go through the order a 4th time here in the 9th inning. 2-0 on Curtis Granderson, who's 0 for 3. Mitch Meyer is not available for right field. He came into center earlier in the game, so it's Willie Bloomquist taking over for Jose Guillen in right. 2-1 to Granderson. Zach at 104 pitches. Two and two. He has retired 11 of the last 12. Seven strikeouts, no walks. How about this walk to strikeout ratio? 12 walks, 80 strikeouts. Still 3 and 2.
That's filling the zone with strikes right there, Ryan. I mean, that's just coming out and establishing your fastball, pitching both sides of the plate, and inducing contact from the hitter. If you pitch around the plate and you induce contact, you're definitely going to get more strikeouts because you're around the plate.
Up the line, Butler's got it. 1 away. Royals baseball brought to you tonight by Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of hearty soups, hand-tossed salads, inventive sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. So Zach had 108 pitches. Placido Polanco with 2 hits against him. He has scored the only run. Zach still pumping it up there at 96 in the 9th inning. A run is a run, but it was a soft run scored by the Tigers in the 1st inning, which began with Polanco's double out over his front foot, and just hooking it.
Ended a bat double down the left field line. And this is what we're talking about right here. Zach really got him out front on a breaking ball, and he was able to stay back enough to get it down the line. And actually, I mean, O'Donnell's bat broke in half, and he got a base hit to the left center field. So much for the Maple bat.
Tien on Olivo. Tien, 2 down. So 1 out away from that 5th complete game. The next closest in the American League, 2 complete games. Several have 2. 0-1 on Ordonez. Ordonez 1 for 3 with that RBI single in the 1st. No balls, 2 strikes. And you know what the fans are hoping for here.
They want a big strikeout right here. That's the last pitch. 62 miles an hour. I think that's the last pitch anybody expected to see tonight.
Zach Greinke is 8-1.